Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is D-Free, and for today's video we're going to be talking about the God Key green characters. We're going to be talking about which one you guys should be using on your team if you're looking to build the best possible God Key team in Dragon Ball Legends. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section down below which one you think is the best on this list. I believe this is all 6. If there's a 7th, forgive me, but I think this is all of them. Which one you think is the best on the list? Let me know down below in the comments. And on top of that though, how you would rank the top row here, the top 3 characters. Which ones do you think they are, in what order, and why? Let me know in the comment section down below once again. And let's jump into the Dragon Ball Legends video discussion, where we're going to talk about the best, again, green character currently in Legends for the God Key team. Alright, so we're going to start off with Toppo. He is the new kid in town. Obviously, I'm going to try not to apply any recency bias to the man, but he's very, very good. Toppo is very good. So he obviously has access to a couple of other teams that are very, very worth consideration, like Universe Survival or Rival Universe. By the way, I talk from time to time about characters that have some of the more premium Z abilities in the game. This 3-part split with a double stat buff has got to be one of the top Z abilities in the entire game, maybe top 10. Very, very valuable Z ability here. Maybe not top 10, but very valuable among all the characters. Definitely want to get him to 6-star if possible, which is just 1 copy and, you know, the pack. So there's that. Anyways, so Toppo has got some pretty good stats here at 6-star currently, but the main draw to Toppo are as follows. He is very, very, very good at dealing damage, first and foremost. Secondly, Toppo's next thing that you want to focus on is that he has more durability than Vados typically has. Vados has the, you know, the cover change of the destroy cards, whatever. She has some disruption stuff with the green card, whatever. Toppo has about, what, 60% damage cut built into his kit. Admittedly, if you're at a low star Toppo, you're probably getting yours just shredded, right? But it is what it is. That's the case for the entirety of the game at this point. Aside from Revive Gohan for whatever reason. Anyways, so yeah, Toppo's got about 60% cut between 2 different unique abilities. He's got a lot built in, and he's a good damage dealer. But the best thing Toppo does in his kit is he has four chances to kill anybody. So here's how this works. When he enters the battlefield, he inflicts all 3 of the enemies, or however many are left, I guess, with 2 sub counts. So what this means is, if they had an option to sub or whatever, you sub in a Toppo for 2 counts, they're not going to be able to do anything. In that window, I like to stop charge stepping or whatever and just click cards, because he's going to enter and he's going to do really good damage, especially when you use a blast, because then you get the 50% blast buff. Like, he's going to do a lot of damage, and he might just mess around and kill whoever that is, right? So I don't like doing anything. They're not going to be able to sub. He is going to kill whoever he wants, and he has 4 chances just in case he doesn't do it. The only way you're going to be able to sub on this, for the record, is, again, if they're operating within the 2-count window, because if they're not, then it doesn't matter anymore. The only way you're going to sub on this is if you go for like a rush, I guess, and they have like a robbery, or if you're rushing, I believe it's if you have to be rushing the red Bojack, right? And then he can allow another ally to sub in quicker, like different things like that. But outside of that, it doesn't really matter. They're not switching. This is 4 chances to do whatever he wants, and this is disgusting when paired with the MVP 17 as well from the Tournament of Power, because he also does a lot of stuff like that. So very, very powerful ability. Outside of that, like I said, Toppo has, you know, just damage cut, damage. He has immunities built into his kit. He's got some different stuff. He's pretty powerful, man. So Toppo's a character that, and he has this long-range green card, destroys all your enemies' cards. Like, all his stuff basically destroys all your enemies' cards as well. Destroys their cards. Just destroying their stuff everywhere, as a true god of destruction would. He destroys all of his own cards here. Anyways, so yeah, the Toppo's got a kit that's really interesting with that. He also have the blast cards that do sustained blast damage off debuffs as well. So like, Toppo's gonna do a lot of damage. And then he has draw speed. He force draws a card. Like, he is gonna do a lot of damage. He has good durability, and he's gonna probably lock and kill somebody. That's what you're looking at with Toppo. So overall, is Toppo the best of the characters? I'm gonna go ahead and just say off the top, I do think that for most people, Toppo is going to be the #1 God Key green character. And I'm not trying to have any recency bias. I'll apply the qualifier that if you're trying to run different teams, maybe things are a little different. But I think one of the best possible 2-man duos is Toppo. Oh, they're right next to each other. Toppo and Evolution Blue Vegeta. I think they're going to be insane allies. And that's really, really funny to say considering their history in the series. But nonetheless, though, they are 2 of the best characters between green and yellow, and just a pairing in God Key. Other notable one one would be like, you know, Gogeta Blue alongside Vados is very, very powerful. I guess Revive Gohan and Vados is really, really powerful. And this is why I said all throughout the qualifier that Vados, who we're going to talk about next, is really good in a different scenario. Let me give you a little bit of backstory. You'll still see me use Vados, for the record, in a lot of my videos, like I always do whenever I'm using this team. But the backstory on Vados is as follows. So about a month and a half ago, Vados started getting a lot of criticism. That's when I really started seeing it. And when did she come out, for the record? Like, she's been out for a while. Yeah, she's approaching a year. She came out October of last year. For the record, this game has massive power creep. She came out October of last year, so she's nearly a year old, so obviously that doesn't help. The fact that we're even talking about her a year later, that's quite good. Anyways, so yeah, she started getting a lot of criticism because she's very squishy, no pun intended. She kind of dies really easily, especially if you're not like me with a 14-star Vados, and you don't, whenever you use her, put a lot of defensive. I put all like defense and HP equips on her. From time to time, she'll have a Zenkai boost. Not really, very rarely does she have that, but a lot of times she will have like an HP buff, because I like to have an HP buff on pretty much all of my teams. So Red Super Saiyan God Goku, a lot of times is a staple if I'm using some sort of God Key team. But if I'm using girls, maybe I don't run Mai or whatever. Like, you know, it just kind of depends. Nonetheless, though, she gets a lot of criticism for that. She's a support type, so her stats are going to be normalized across the board. I mean, just look at Toppo's graph versus Vados's graph as a sign of two things: the sign of power creep, and secondly, a sign of the fact that the stats on support characters oftentimes wind up looking more like this than like this, just for the record. So that's a very big difference, right? So that's something to consider as well. So Vados has these things built into her kit where she is basically, she's got the best supporting elements in the entire game. Like her abilities here, the constant healing, the stacking damage buffs, like she's got the best support in the entirety of the game. I don't think that's really debatable, especially after like 4, 5, 6 switches. She just becomes, like, the team becomes ridiculous. Now the downside is with that is that's very slow, right? That's a very slow model. That's why people are also really critical of her pairing with some of the Revive Goku. It's very slow. Vados also, for a lot of people, since she is so squishy, they feel like if you make one mistake, you're probably dead. They also feel like you don't want to run a team with like her and Merge Zamasu and like UI Goku, who are admittedly like the 3 most squishy characters on this team and 3 of the most squishy Sparkings in the entire game. So, I mean, there's caveats to that, like cover changes or, you know, like UI auto dodge, whatever, but in and of itself, like, these characters generally die in one combo to the top brass of the game. So that's just kind of how it is. But like I said, you'll still see me using Vados most of the time. So really the question is, how do you value support, right? She has all the support, like 30% to allies is ridiculous for 60 counts. Cancels their downgrades, restores their health, restores ki on sub out, gives damage buff, restores health again. Like, she is the best solo supporter in the game. When she enters the battlefield, she also picks up some damage and draw speed. She's not going to do any damage with this. She's just not a damage dealer. She doesn't do any damage. But she is good at stalling. That's where Vados is really good as well. She's good at stalling and Dragon Ball farming because she picks up ki and she picks up the draw speed. Very good at stalling if you're forced to play with her for a little bit, and then you combo that with the green card, which shortens the sub count here and has some disruption elements, just like some other characters as well. This downgrade is very problematic if she uses a green card. You're not restoring any ki passively. You will need to manually charge. So there's that. Very disruptive. Has the strike, seal, heal. Here, excuse me. Also, her blue card, I didn't even know it wins versus most blue cards. It can't be nullified by most other special moves. I didn't even know that. I genuinely did not even know that. So yeah, there's that. She also has the card destroy on the cover change, but if you mess up on the cover change, she might just get deleted if they drop combo. You know, like, so more or less, like I said, how do you value support? And are you going to value that support higher than the fact that she's going to die in a few hits to most characters, and she's also not going to do much damage, right? There's 2 negatives and 1 positive. I value her support very highly. I already told you I think she's the best supporting character in the game. I think she's very versatile as a result of that and the things that she can do, the disruption and stalling. So I will use her in a lot of cases, but I won't fault somebody if they feel like she is the best or if they feel like she's the worst on this list. I think she has the highest degree of variance between these 3 characters I'm seriously considering. Let me know how you guys feel about Vados. I think, again, I don't think you go wrong in putting her at 1 or 3. I just don't. But I do think for most people, Toppo's going to wind up being at the top of their list outside of recency bias, because I think Toppo, for the record, is a character without the drawbacks. Like, I don't think Toppo really has any drawbacks. I mean, like, obviously, is he the most tanky character in the world? No. Like, does he do the most damage? No. But he does a little bit of everything. He doesn't offer support for your team, whatever, right? But it is what it is. Like, Toppo, I think, is very powerful. Vados offers the best support in the game, though. So, speaking of support, we have Beerus here. So, Beerus is interesting, because if you asked me if I thought Vados was better than Beerus, I would tell you yes, pretty much every day of the week. The thing about Beerus is, Beerus was, on his release of the Zenkai, the best character in the game. You may be able to go back and find videos from me and Goresh, well, mainly Goresh, because he was like the first person that had him at Zenkai 7, because their initials, like Zenkai model, whatever, this is November of last year. Yeah, he's approaching a year old or whatever. Maybe that was not even the first. No, it wasn't the first one. He is over a year old. I was gonna say he's older than that. Yeah, first came out in May/June with his Zenkai, it looks like. Maybe even before that. Anyways, his Zenkai is damn old. So, again, I talked about power creep, so his Zenkai doesn't have all the fancy things that some of the newer ones have. He's not, I mean, the newer Zenkais are kind of like more in line with Beerus, I guess, but the ones towards the middle were ridiculous, right? So he doesn't really have that. So, what Beerus does do, though, better than pretty much anybody, is the disruption. The main ability ceiling is ridiculous. The card slot ceiling, the downgrades of card costs. Like, he's a support character that didn't really have support pre-Zenkai, but his support type was more or less being a disruptive character. He does have support now built in, and this is funny because he doesn't offer any key when he switches out. He just gives damage and debuffs, which is pretty good. It just means your whole team's going to do more damage, right? But some people will tell you that's good because this dude may not want as much key, and that's fair, right? He may be a better partner for this character than Vados is, because I didn't recognize when I was using the Vegeta, even though he was doing more damage, I recognized when he was using with Vados, he had too much ki, which didn't really work with what he wanted. So in the long run, he doesn't do as much damage, really. Anyways, so like that may be the case, but for pretty much every other character in the grouping, I always wish, every time I use Beerus, oh man, I wish he used Ki. I even was using Beerus recently and I said the same thing over and over. I was like, man, I wish he gave Ki. Man, I wish he gave Ki. I really don't love that. So there's that. Beerus also, again, isn't doing all the crazy damage anymore relative to the rest of the game like he was doing on his Zenkai release, because once he Zenkai'd, he had basically the highest stats in the game. So, like, he was the best character. Like, it's really funny to look back at it. Because Zenkais were so new, and you got this like 14-star system that came out just before. Like, he was ridiculous, right? He doesn't really have the damage buffs like that. He has some debuffs built in. He has some disruption. The main ability ceiling is by far and away the best thing he's doing. But I'm personally going to put him third on my list. If you're using Beerus, you're fine. Like, there's no problem with using Beerus. If you have him even as your first, I mean, I really wouldn't debate it too much with you. But I would say, I adamantly would disagree, but I wouldn't debate it, right? So yeah, I'm going to say he's third on the list, and fourth on the list is Vegeta. I'm not really going to talk much about Vegeta. He does have things built in his kit that are good, but he needs a Zenkai. In fact, I hope he doesn't get a Zenkai, because if he gets a Zenkai, he's going to be really problematic. Why? Because he has things like no switch and stuff like that. This dude's really old. Did I talk about him earlier? I feel like I might have. Came out... Damn. Dude, in a couple months, it's going to be 2 years. There's no way anybody's going to argue with me that he's good. No, there's going to be somebody in the comments. No, he's still really good. I still use him to this day on PvP. No, okay? No. He's 2 years old almost. No, you're not using this character in PvP and having good results. Okay, let me throw the qualifier at a higher battle rank. I know I don't always push to the highest ranks anymore because I just don't have time for it like I used to, but I'm still always top 15K, top 10K every season, and that's with me playing casually. I used to push, top 1,000, whatever. This is not a brag. I'm just saying, after a certain point, characters stop becoming usable, right? And I don't need to talk about him, okay? You guys understand. He's not it. So Toppo's number one for me. Vados, I'd say it's kind of like 1B personally, and then Beerus is third. So I get second. If I go 1B, he's second, right? But third on the list overall. So there's that. These dudes don't exist. No, this isn't the guy. This is Goku. He's supposed to be Goku here. He doesn't exist. He doesn't exist so bad he's not on my list. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think down below. Again, how do you rank these characters? Thank you so much, and I'll see all of you in the next video.